Hey everybody, this is Charlie, the Pennsylvania grain farmer, coming to you from kind of rainy and dreary western Pennsylvania. It's Friday, March the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. And the reason for this video today, this is actually a redo of a video I uploaded a couple days ago and then pretty quickly took down because I was using my new GoPro Hero 9 camera on that video, and for some reason everything when I get it into the video editor seems to work okay, but when I go to export it I'm having problems with it. It seems to be taking pieces of the clip, the video, and repeating it, and the audio seems to be fine the whole way through. So I don't know what the problem is, so I'm doing this one on my iPhone, and I'll get to the bottom of the other problem sooner or later. But this video is going to be more of a explanation video rather than one that's action-packed. And what the topic is Hillside Hitches. Now, I know that I just recently did 2 videos on the installation of Hillside Hitches, but when I did that, I was actually surprised at how many responses I got where people were asking questions about them because they really didn't know anything about Hillside Hitches because they come from states where the land is flatter and level, and there really isn't a need. I even had a couple friends of mine on YouTube that are more expert Oliver people that hadn't seen, they had heard of them but hadn't seen a Hillside hitch on an Oliver tractor. So I wanted to take a look at the concept of the Hillside hitch and what it's for, both on the Oliver tractors and also on a plow. You notice here in the red shed today, my dump truck isn't in here because that's up at my buddy Ben's. He's doing some minor things to it here prior to state inspection next month. So I've been doing a little bit of plowing. I even was able to get out and plow a little bit yesterday. So with the truck gone, I'm able to pull the tractor and the plow in and not have to unhook that. But in any event, we're going to take a look at Hillside hitches both on tractors and how that applies to a plow. Now, you may recall what my Hillside hitch looked like here. I'll show you the one on the Super 88 and the one on the 66 that I put on this last winter is identical to it. It's really just a couple of metal bars, this one back here and this one, and a hydraulic cylinder. And all it does is using the hydraulic lever, you can use the hydraulic cylinder to swing the drawbar back and forth. Now, that comes in kind of handy. I mean, especially if you were plowing, like we did use a fleet line or my 77 here, which is right now right behind me. In the old days, my dad pulled an Oliver drag type plow with this. And the problem is on our hills and our contour strips, sometimes you're really tilted down the hill, either to the right or to the left. And what that means is whichever way you're tilted downhill, the plow or the disc or whatever implement you're doing can very likely track down the hill too. And when you're plowing and you're trying to throw the dirt up against the last furrow and filling up the last furrow that you did, that can be a problem, because if it's tracking downhill, it's going to not throw the dirt far enough. And if your tractor's tilted the other way, it can throw over too much. So it's pretty handy to be able to move that drawbar. It's also helpful sometimes when you're hooking something up or you're backing up to something. I know on my 66, I'm going to appreciate it this summer, because when I use my Coon tedder, which is right there, notice the one side is folded in and up for transport. For some reason, they offset that gearbox to the right hand side if you're facing the tractor from the machine, to the right side of the machine. And so if I have that drawbar in the middle, the PTO shaft is kind of shaped kind of like a Z, especially when you go around the sharp turn. So what I found is if I move the drawbar, once I get to the field, move the drawbar over as far as it goes to the left, that makes the PTO shaft perfectly straight. And then I don't put undue wear and stress on it. Okay. Now, the first tractor that I had a Hillside hitch on was this Oliver 1650. And I'm really sure that in an earlier video, I had shown you this Hillside hitch. This is not an original Oliver Hillside hitch. I don't know if they made them for this, for the 50 series tractors. This is a Hillside hitch that my dad originally built. And in the year 2000, I had this tractor completely from top to bottom restored by my farmer and mechanic buddy Joe, who's the best Oliver mechanic around. And he redid this, re-engineered it, and made it a little bit less crude and awkward. But it does, even though it looks different, it does the same thing as the original Oliver Hillside hitches that you saw on the other two tractors. So that's the concept of the Hillside hitch as it applies to a tractor. Now the problem is, if you're not using something that's being towed by the drawbar, if you're using 3-point hitch, like in the case, let's say, of a semi-mounted plow like I use, then it's a little different story, and you have to actually have a Hillside hitch on the machine itself. Again, this Hillside hitch we mainly used when we were plowing, because we pulled a 4-bottom Oliver drag type plow with this tractor before right around the year 2000 that I got my International 710. So what we're going to do is we're going to go take a look at the International 710 plow, because it does not have a Hillside hitch. I'll show you what that's like, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at my current International 720 plow, which does have a Hillside hitch, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we'll be right back. All right, what you're looking at is my backup plow. This is a plow that I bought and started using, I believe it was in the year 2000, when I stopped using the Oliver drag type plow and went to this semi-mounted plow. It's 3/16, and this is what I pulled with my Oliver 1650 at the time. Now, this plow does not have a Hillside hitch, okay? And you'll notice that, probably like most semi-mounted plows, there's a bar up here in the front that the rest of the plow is mounted to. This is your actual hitch here, but this is what would allow for the adjustment of your plow. So whenever you're going to use a plow for the first time with a given tractor, there are measurements that you need to make to help you determine where this hitch should be clamped. Because basically what this is a big clamp. There's a bar or a plate on the bottom and a plate on top, and they're bolted together by 6 bolts, and they're bolted tight so that this doesn't move, so it doesn't slide, so that the plow doesn't slide on the hitch bar back and forth. So you determine where that needs to be based on the width of your tractor wheels and so on, and then you bolt this down solid so this does not move. Okay, and this is what I used for years, but the problem is, well, for about almost 18 years. But the problem is that when you're on the side of a hill, as I had mentioned earlier in the video, say you're tilted to the left, the plow is going to go, going to move to the left, and it's not going to throw the soil far enough to the right to cover your previous furrow up. And if you're tilted to the right, then the plow's going to go downhill and your furrow is going to be down there, let's say, and it's going to throw the dirt too far. So, but with this kind of hitch, you're kind of stuck with it, okay, because it's just one position. And that's why the next plow I'm going to show you, which is my current plowing rig, my white 2110 and International Harvester 720 plow, has a hillside hitch built in here so that it can move, you know, this part, these two plates side to side on this hitch bar, and adjust for whichever way your plow and tractor tilted on the ground. So let's go take a look at the IH 720 plow right now. All right, now we're looking at, for comparison's sake, my International 720 plow. Now, in many respects, it's very much like the 710, especially in the way the 3-point hitch works. However, on this one now, you'll see some differences. You may remember, I'll try to move these cables a little bit. We're in the front of the plow here, right behind the tractor, and you notice it has basically the same setup. It has this bar, and then it has the two plates. There's this one, and then the one that goes under that bar. And you remember on the 710, those plates were attached by a total of 6 bolts. There were 3 here and 3 here. And, you know, it was just a plate above and a plate below, and they were bolted down tight so that, you know, once you had figured out, calculated where that hitch needed to be to make your plow right on flat and level ground, then you tighten up those bolts and the plow stayed right there. Now, maybe if you had the plow with a different tractor where the wheels were set at a different width, then you probably would have had to readjust your plow too. But this plow I bought from my friend Ben, the one who's working on my dump truck, and he made a hillside hitch. Now, what that meant was that he bolted, I guess you'd call it a tab or a stud here, whatever you want to call it. He welded that to this bar, okay, so that that's solid. And then this side of the hydraulic cylinder is attached to the bottom bar underneath this. And so now we only have, instead of 6 bolts, we only have 2 bolts, one here and one in a similar place on the other side, because we don't want that to be squeezed tight. It has to be loose enough that it can slide. And because this is anchored to the sliding rail, and this one is anchored to the bottom plate underneath, which is attached, you know, by this, and there is like a little bar welded under here and under here, you know, to maintain the spacing, then this is able to slide back and forth using that hydraulic cylinder. And that's what's nice, because, you know, if you're on a hillside, especially, you know, usually you're going to be tilted one way going across the field and tilted the other way going back, so you can move the plow back and forth as you need it. Okay, and it's really convenient and really slick. And it'll move probably a total of about, I'd say 10 inches, almost a foot, which might not seem like a lot, but in a lot of cases, that's, you know, just enough to solve the problem of being on a hillside. So that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you here about the hillside hitch. You know, if you have a semi-mount plow and you have a hilly ground, it might give you some ideas of what you can do, or you may have some other semi-mounted equipment or other types of equipment that, you know, the same idea can be applied. But I think that we, as the old saying goes, we learn by standing on each other's shoulders. So if there's something that I know about that I can share that helps somebody else out, you know, I'm all for it. And likewise, you know, I learn from all of you out there in YouTube land who post videos. I get a lot of benefit out of that too. So that's going to be it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe learned something or got some ideas from it. If you did, I hope that you'll subscribe. And if you already have subscribed, I thank you for that very much. I hope you'll hit the like button and consider leaving me a comment or asking a question. So this is Charlie, the Pennsylvania grain farmer, saying, see you next time.